Thank you. Hello, my name is Hamish Nott, MSYP. I am the member of the Scottish Youth Parliament representing Inverness and Nairn. I am honoured to have been invited to share with you the role young people in the Scottish Youth Parliament play in fostering peaceful societies and creating an enabling environment for the enjoyment of human rights by all. The Scottish Youth Parliament, or SYP, is a national organisation representing all young people who live in Scotland. SYP exists to raise the voices of Scotland's young people, to make sure decision makers listen to us and involve us in decisions that affect our lives. Our vision for Scotland is of a nation that actively listens and values the meaningful participation of young people to ensure young people grow up loved, safe and respected and able to reach their full potential. SYP is made up of around 160 members of the Scottish Youth Parliament, MSYPs. MSYPs are 14 to 25-year-olds from every part of Scotland who are democratically elected by young people every 2 years. We have 2 MSYPs per Scottish Parliament constituency, which enables us to work in partnership with our parliamentary counterparts and with the Scottish Parliament directly. We are a very diverse Parliament. For example, over half of our members identify as young women. Nearly 1/4 have a visible or invisible disability, and around 1/3 of MSYPs belong to a minority ethnic group. As an organisation which puts young people's human rights at the centre, we are passionate about raising young people's awareness of their rights and ensuring decision makers uphold them. In particular, all of our work is underpinned by young people's right to express their views freely and have their opinions listened to in all matters affecting them. Although we have a small team of dedicated staff to support our work, SYP is entirely youth-led, which means all the major decisions about what we do are made by young people. For example, all MSYPs are involved in deciding which issues SYP takes a position on and what happens in our campaigns. MSYPs plan and lead consultations to find out young people's views, facilitate workshops, and meet with elected representatives and other decision makers across Scotland. 8 MSYPs are elected each year to make up the Board of Trustees, which is responsible for strategic decisions about what SYP does. Since it was established in 1999, SYP has influenced major changes in Scotland. One of the mechanisms through which we do this is through our relationship with the Scottish Government. Every year, MSYPs and members of the Children's Parliament meet with Scotland's First Minister and their Cabinet for the annual Cabinet meeting with children and young people. Alongside this, MSYPs also attend an annual executive meeting with the Scottish Government's Permanent Secretary and Directors General. These annual meetings give us the opportunity to tell the most senior politicians and civil servants in Scotland about issues affecting the young people we represent. The annual Cabinet meeting is, as far as we know, the only one of its kind anywhere in the world. These annual meetings lead to real and meaningful change. Commitments made by the Scottish Government as a result of these meetings have led to more opportunities for young people's participation in decision-making, the banning of anti-loitering devices in public places, the incorporation of the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child into Scottish legislation, and the introduction of free bus and ferry travel for all young people under the age of 22. I would like to focus today on that last example, free bus travel, to demonstrate the ways youth-led organisations such as SYP can have an impact. In 2018, MSYPs carried out a Scotland-wide consultation to understand young people's experiences of public transport. 1,329 people shared their views through a survey and focus groups. The results of this consultation were published in our All Aboard report, which made 10 recommendations for improvements. MSYPs shared the report on social media, wrote letters and gave presentations, and met with the Scottish Government, public transport providers and other decision makers to highlight young people's views and experiences. One of the recommendations called on Transport Scotland and the Scottish Government to review and expand concessionary fares to include all young people across all public transport networks. A group of MSYPs raised this recommendation with the Scottish Government's Cabinet, where they agreed to carry out a review to look at extending discounts on public transport. MSYPs and other young people helped with this review by taking part in workshops with Transport Scotland to make sure young people's views were at the centre of the decisions made around this issue. They also wrote blogs and letters, gave presentations, and held meetings with transport providers to increase support for extending concessionary fares. Following our campaign, the Scottish Government introduced the Young Persons Under 22's free bus travel scheme, which began in January 2022. Since then, Transport Scotland has reported that in the 3 years since its introduction, nearly 219 million journeys have been taken through the free bus travel scheme. This scheme has been shown to contribute towards efforts to reduce child poverty, widening young people's access to education and employment, enabling them to build and maintain relationships with friends and family members, and develop independence. I'd like to close by making 3 recommendations for consideration by Council members. Firstly, national youth voice mechanisms, such as youth parliaments, should be embedded within national decision-making structures and should be supported to connect young people in local geographical and demographic communities with those national structures. Secondly, to ensure young people play a meaningful role in fostering peaceful societies and creating an enabling environment for the enjoyment of human rights by all, we must be meaningfully involved in all decisions which affect us, from the start of the process and throughout. Finally, policymakers and organisations must make a concerted effort to ensure young people who are marginalised and those who are furthest from their rights are listened to and involved in decisions. Meaningfully including young people in decision-making leads to more inclusive and effective policies that better serve the needs of young people. Thank you.